my name is Nick Galli, and I represent College of Aeronautics at Florida Tech and FIT Aviation. So we are a flight school, and we also have obviously academic college degrees. So basically what we do here, for the most part, is we train students to become pilots. Now, because of the current climate in aviation, most of our pilot trainees are destined for the airlines, okay? Whether it be international or domestic, we do a large number of pilot training, and because the market is what it is, there's a tremendous demand. Now, as you can see, I have the date on the board. It's March 17, 2020, so we're in the midst, or at the beginning portion, of the coronavirus. So what I'm going to do for the presentation today is ignore the impact of the coronavirus at present, because we don't know where it's going to go. And when I talk about the climate of where things are going, we're going to assume that things are going to get righted and corrected and getting it back on track. And that being so, the demand for pilots is fueling a tremendous need that's in the industry. Everything in aviation, whether it's mechanics, managers, pilots, all in demand because the baby boomers are retiring, exiting, transitioning out of the industry into new things, and that creates a huge demand, okay? So what I'm going to try and do is talk about all the various stakeholders that we have, people from the international side, from the domestic side, and what they want to do. Please keep in mind the vast majority of people are interested in becoming airline pilots, okay? Now, as such, the thing I'm going to start with is, and my contact information is on the board. Please feel free to contact me. It's easier at this point because we're going to be working remotely. It probably would be easier for you to email me, and then I'll reach out to you electronically if that's okay with you guys. The first thing you want to know is the first thing that you need, which would be in order to fly, you're going to need an FAA medical. So FAA Class 1 medical. Again, please feel free to contact me if you have specific questions about the medical. I don't want to get bogged down talking about all of the things. Some parents out there may have concerns. Hey, would this be a problem? Would this be a problem? Please feel free to contact me, but it would be even better if you would contact FAA.gov. That's where you're going to find out all of your information. Could be, they're going to test your hearing, they're going to test your eyesight, color blindness, any pre-existing conditions, any prescriptions that you're taking, any ADD or ADHD medication could be problematic. So rather than talk about everything, go and you can look it up or you can contact me. But I say Class 1 medical, so there are 3 classes. Class 1, Class 2, and Class 3. Any American citizen wanting to go into an American airline, or a domestic airline, I should say, we suggest strongly that you get a Class 1 because that's what you're going to need. Now, the people that fly us around commercially need a Class 1 medical, and if they're under the age of 40, they're going to need to do that once a year. If they're over the age of 40, they're going to need to do that twice a year, okay? So for the rest of your career, your flying career for the airline, you need to be in good shape. So please keep that in mind, okay? And because of that, I have 2 warnings for all people watching this, 2 very big warnings. Remember, we are an academic institution. The people that are involved in the program mostly are going to get a 4-year degree, which is what the major airlines require, okay? That being said, while you are here, we strongly suggest that you come up with 4 to 6 viable backup plans, and of course, most of those are going to be in aviation. Now, if you have a child that's not interested in flight, I want to be an engineer, I want to be a lawyer, doctor, one of the parental things that we say to our kids is, that's great, honey, have a backup plan or 2. That's a normal parental response to, I want to do this. Now you're watching this, so I assume you are or have a kid that's interested in aviation and want to fly. It's not abnormal to say, that's great, honey, but have a backup plan or 4 to 6. Please let them find their way. We suggest allow them to go their first 3 semesters, and then after that, try and get them and give you a couple of backup plans, and every year thereafter, an additional viable backup plan, okay? Drones or UAVs, management, safety, human factors, planning. There are air traffic control, dispatch. There are tons within the aviation industry alone. If some of them are engineers, some of them want to get an engineering degree and pair that with flight. Whatever they choose to do, they need viable backup plans because of number one, where it says FAA Class 1 Medical, and you're going to go to the FAA.gov, and what you're going to look for at the FAA.gov is an AME, which stands for an Aviation Medical Examiner. So these are doctors approved by the FAA. So all students, whether they're American or domestic, they need to get a class, at least a class 3. And again, if they're domestic students, I suggest you get a class 1 because you're going to need to pass this at some point. This is peace of mind. This will cost you anywhere from $100 to $200, okay? And if you don't have one and you're coming in with it, that's fine. We'll take you to our local AME that can conduct a class 1. No big deal, okay? But this can be done right away. You can have peace of mind knowing that, okay? The second thing that our students are going to need is traditionally in the United States, this is for Americans. Americans are going to need 1,500 flight hours. Okay, that's what they need by law. Okay, now when you research FIT, you can go to fit.edu, do some research in there, and you'll find our majors. We have 4 flight majors, and the people that are here, I would ask you, I gave you guys colored papers, please spread those apart. I gave our 4 majors are pink, put pink down first, pink, then blue, then gold, pink, blue, gold, then put my card, and then put green. I want to make 2 distinct piles, and for those of you out there, we have 4 majors, okay? And the FAA has evaluated all 4 of these majors. The pink one that I have here is Aeronautical Science with Flight, and if you come and visit me, I'll give you these papers, or you can access them online. The blue is Aviation Management with Flight. The gold is Human Factors and Safety with Flight. And then the green one on the separate side of my card, in a separate pile, the green one is Aviation Meteorology with Flight. So I want to make these known that the 3 of them, the Aeronautical Science with Flight, the Aviation Management with Flight, and the Human Factors and Safety, have a restricted ATP to 1,000 hours. So what happens is the FAA tells FIT and any one of the 141 universities that are approved, instead of a student needing 1,500 hours, by going to your university and getting their 4-year degree, majoring in one of those 3 flight majors, we will reduce the number of hours to 1,000, thus making that a domestic student's goal, 1,000 hours, okay? So you lop off 500 hours. Now what's 500 hours? 500 hours is the equivalent of working as a full-time certified flight instructor, or CFI, for about a year, okay? So this is a considerable decrease that the FAA allows us. Now, for those of you out there that are a little savvy, this is called the restricted ATP, or the restricted airline transport pilot license. Now, the unrestricted ATP requires a person to have 1,500 hours and be age 23, with the restriction will not be aged to 21, which is more appetizing for our college students, and will also knock down the hours to 1,000. Now, the green Aviation Meteorology with Flight degree it has a restricted ATP to 1,250 hours. So any of our students who want to work for NOAA or want to be a naval flight officer or have a specialized skill and backup plan, they would require 1,250 hours. So they would save 250 hours, which would be the equivalent of working as a full-time CFI for about 6 months or a half a year, okay? Or a semester if you want to call it that, okay? So that's basically what we're talking about here. I will say one word of warning out there. If a student comes into the university with their private pilot license, you'll notice on our flight majors that we have a class called Flight 1 and we have a class called Aeronautics 1. Flight 1 is a 2-credit flight course. Aeronautics 1 is the 3-credit ground course. So anyone coming in with your private pilot license, we will award you those 5 credits, bump you to Flight 2 in Aeronautics 2, which is commercial time building, which I will write down over here. Just be warned that the system doesn't promote eagerness, okay, in such as this. If a student comes in with more than a private pilot license, then they will void this deal and be held to the 1,500 hours, okay? So it may be in your best interest to get your private pilot license outside, come in with it, award you the 5 credits, and from that point you can move on, and the FAA will allow you to obtain the airline transport pilot license once you have your ratings and the degree. Okay, does that make sense to you guys? Okay, so that's what most of the domestic students, I shouldn't say most, many of our students do that. About 30 to 40% of our students come in with a private pilot license. The majority of our students come in fresh with little or no hours, which is fine, okay? But remember, this is a big deal. This is a responsible position. and profession. And as such, I should give you my second warning. The first warning, remember, was have a lot of backup plans. The second warning is when you get to a regional airline and you get to interview with a regional airline, one of the things they'll do is do a background check on you, such as looking at your driver's license number and doing some research. If they find that a student has a DUI, driving under the influence of drugs or alcohol, they will not hire that person, okay? So remember, it's very, very important, it's crucial that you guys maintain your discipline, okay? We created a lifelong learning center here, so when you come on a tour here, they'll show you the freshman dorm, which is what we call Columbia Village. It's really nice apartment-style dorms. We have a bunch of dorms, and another possibility, if you want to buy into it, is the Lifelong Learning Center, in which we're in Brownlee Hall, which they have their own pool. It's not apartment style, it's a traditional dorm, but they're going to be all flight students. So to start getting them acclimated to the flight line and the airspace and each other, they have everyday events or weekly events within the air industry. So it's a really good way of getting to know each other. For anybody outside of a 50-mile radius or outside of our 2 local counties, students have to stay in campus housing for the first 2 years, okay? So normally they gravitate towards the flight people, but they don't have to do that. They can opt out of that and go into with other majors if they want, okay? Everybody okay, everybody good so far? Okay, so those 5 credits coming in or not, if you want to start fresh, that is fine, okay? What I'm gonna do on this board is I'm gonna tell you about the flight ratings that you're going to need, the time it's going to take as a full-time student, and I'm also going to tell the minimum cost to obtain that, okay? So cost, by the way, while we're on the topic of cost, my costs are going to reflect minimums, okay, as most flight schools will do. I'll try and give you a much more accurate picture of it as we go along. Just keep that in mind, okay? Okay, the first one, as I said, the first rating is going to be seen in the first semester. First semester's rating is called the private pilot license. And again, if you're going to have that coming in, you can ignore that. If you don't, you can see what you have ahead of you. Now, a semester, it's going to be 1 to 1.5 semesters. What's a semester? Here at Florida Tech, a semester is the 3rd Monday in August is the first week of school. By the way, the 2nd week of August is orientation. Parents are supposed to be here Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. They leave, students stay Thursday, Friday, finish everything up. Anybody with their private pilot will take a test that Thursday of orientation week. It's an equivalency test, it's nothing to worry about. But what'll happen is they'll start 3rd week in August and they'll go through to the middle of December. Now let me say something to the international students. One of the requirements we have here is to clear TSA. American citizens, you clear TSA, our flight requirements by showing me a valid passport or a driver's license and a birth certificate, okay? International students have a much more difficult road to hoe when it comes to that. You have to show me your passport. You have to pay $130 for each rating, private, instrument, and the multi-portion of commercial. You have to get fingerprinted, okay? And that's why we tell our international students well in advance. We'll start telling them months in advance to start getting their TSA stuff in order, because this can take anywhere from 4 to 8 weeks, okay, thus delaying flight training. So I really want the international students to get in on this quickly, okay, whereas Americans can do a bump right there right on first day, okay, so there is a difference there. So international students, please get a handle on that. So the fall semester goes from August, 3rd week in August, to the middle of December, break for Christmas and winter, resume January, 2nd week in January, go through to the end of April. We have very little activities that go on in May in terms of academics. Generally, our graduation is the first Saturday in May. This year, I think it's May 9th. Last year was Star Wars Day, May 4th. Okay, so it tells you that there's just a couple of tests that may go on in May. Our students have virtually all of May, all of June, all of July, and most of August off. Therefore, for flight students, you may want to stay in campus housing, stay here, get a flight rating done. It's a great time to pick up. A lot of our students go home, maybe some of them go on internships over the summer. Many students, flight students, are deciding to stay, get their flight ratings done so that they get closer to their certified flight instructor rating and start earning money instead of costing money or paying money. So that's one avenue that you can consider, and we'll go over some combinations. So if you start in August, you can be done by Christmas with your private pilot license. That's ambitious, okay? More realistic would be for our students to get their private pilot around February time, okay? So they'll come to me in February and then they can enroll right in the next flight. So flight courses go one into the, as soon as you're done, you can register for the next one and the next one, right? It's not like you're waiting for math class to end. Flight is one after another if you want it to be that way, okay? The cost on this is gonna be a minimum of $12,500, okay? So please understand this is a minimum, and the private pilot is a new skill set learning. You're learning a whole new thing. Somewhere along the line you may get bogged down and may have a couple of lessons. With that being said, I have seen more people do it in $14,000 or $15,000. This is the tough one, okay? This is the one which may demand some repeats, okay? It's just gonna take a while, that's what it is, just be patient. So even though they can be done in 12.5, it generally will take a little bit longer. The second rating that you will accomplish would be the instrument rating, okay? So again, IR, instrument rating. That's gonna be found in our third semester, Flight 3, Aeronautics 3. It should take a student about a semester for that. Okay, it should cost about the same, about $12,500. That one is more realistic. I think most of our students are going to do it in about that or thereabouts. The last rating that they need is the commercial pilot license. This is the big one. This means that you can work for hire. Commercial pilot license has two parts to it. Flight 2 and the ground school's Aeronautics 2. Flight 4 and the ground school's Aeronautics 4. Okay, so this would be 10 credits. So because there are two, I'm going to divide them into two. So Flight 2 should take about a half a semester. Can take a few weeks. In the summertime, my students can do it in 2 to 3 weeks, flying every day. Okay. By the way, let me talk about that. The reason why we have a restricted ATP here, the reason why the FAA gives us this permission is because our students are going to fly Part 141. So they're going to fly 3 times a week. Their ground school is a college course of 16 weeks, okay? And the students cannot come in with more than that, or they'll void that, as I mentioned earlier. So Flight 2, half a semester. Flight 4 can be done in 1 semester. And when you look at them, if you go to fit.edu and you look at the registrar's flight costs, and you go to Table B, okay, I suggest you go to Table B. I know they break it down in a few ways, but Table B is the best. It's pretty much similar to what you're seeing here. Flight 2 is about $10,000. Flight 4 is about $27,000. So we have about $37,000. And the reason why Flight 4 is so expensive, the last portion of Flight 4, which is Stage 3. Flight 2 is Stage 1 commercial, and then Stage 2 and 3 is Flight 4. Stage 3 commercial pilot license is in a multi-engine aircraft. For us, we have a Piper fleet. I'll talk a little bit about the fleet. We have 33 training aircraft. 32 of them are Piper, divided up between Seminoles, which are multis, the Warriors, and we have, of course, the Archers, which have G1000, for those of you that are aware of that. And also, our airport is in Class D airspace, so a lot easier to train, easier to get out and up, okay? So, getting back to this, well, we have a total of about $62,000. Again, that's going to be minimum to get you through all of this. Now, I'm going to draw a line. Let the line signify that a student at this point would accomplish all of the flight requirements to get the degree. So the aeronautical science with flight, the aviation management with flight, the human factors and safety with flight, and the aviation meteorology with flight now is satisfied. How many hours would a student have? If a student comes in with 0, by this point they will have somewhere in the neighborhood of about 210 to 215. I usually use 212 just because it's about accurate, okay? Again, everything above the line is what they will need. So if you're an international student going to an international airline, the requirements are different, okay? This is US law, okay? Your country's law may be commercial license with 250 hours. You're good to go. There's no need to go any further. If you're an American, you can see what we have here, okay? You have 212 hours. You need close to 1,000. The airlines will hire you around about 965 to 975 hours. That leaves you about 750 hours shy of the requirement. What to do? Well, let's look at the timeline first. If it takes you a semester and a half to get through your private, you finish up freshman year with Flight 2. By the end of freshman year, you could be done with Flight 1 and Flight 2. Come back for sophomore year or your second year. Do your instrument rating in the fall, finish up your commercial in the spring. Therefore, 2 years, 4 semesters, finish this. Now you're a sophomore, finished your sophomore year, you're gonna be a junior, and you have all of the flight requirements needed. Now what? Well, because you have that 750-hour gap, and because you're an American, you need the 1,000. The most cost-effective way to do this, if you want to go to the airlines and you need that restricted ATP at 1,000 hours, is to become a certified flight instructor. That would be the easiest way. However, that has a cost as well. Roughly $9,000, which brings our total now into the low 70s. Again, if you have any questions about cost, I suggest you contact me, okay? But as of now, remember I wrote the date down. It's St. Patrick's Day. I'm not wearing green, I apologize. St. Patrick's Day, 2020, this is about as accurate as I can get. It's about $71,000 to get you through the CFI. Now, our CFIs get paid. Now you'll notice that they are not yet graduated. So because of that, they would work as a part-time certified flight instructor, and regular CFIs start at $22 an hour, okay? Which I think you'll find is pretty good, pretty competitive, and now no longer are they paying, but they are now getting paid. A part-time CFI can work up to 20 hours. Because I said that, 20 hours, that does not mean you're gonna get 20 flight hours. You'll probably get 7 or 8. A lot of a certified flight instructor's job is ground work, okay? My strong suggestion, especially for Americans, is to go one further step. Become a certified flight instructor, instrument terminology, CFII. Wage, $5 an hour more. So that's one reason to do it. If you do it soon enough, you can take advantage of the increase. The other advantage is the training that you're going to do for the CFII is applicable when you get to the airlines. So those students that have just acquired the CFI and went no further, come back and tell me, hey, you better tell those guys and girls to go get the II, okay? Also, it increases the amount of students. So if you evaluate how many students a CFI has versus how many students a II has, it's a greater number, okay? So you're enhancing what you have. There are further steps, one being an MEI. And for those of you out there that are MEIs, which is multi-engine instructor, we greatly need multi-engine instructors, okay? To take it back a little bit, a lot of flight schools are telling people, hey, you can come here, but you know, you're not going to fly your first semester. We're not telling people that. Our students will fly in their first semester. As a matter of fact, I mentioned the TSA. If your TSA is in, you can start right away, okay? We want you to start right away. We want that TSA in. We want you to have final approval so you can start. So there's no reason why you can't have a flight activity the end of the first week, or probably more likely the beginning or middle of the second week. You should have your first flight activity, okay? We are not waiting, we are not holding back. So the multi-engine instructor, the reason why I wrote that line is anything with a multi-engine, you can see the difference in price here, is expensive. So while we definitely need MEIs, and you'll have a whole lot of students when you get to this point, it may not be worth the cost. Remember, you're already in that much. For American citizens, that's a hefty bill to pay $10,000 for an MEI. CFII on the books is $4,700, but there may be ways that we can reduce that price. Again, we can talk about that. But basically, what I have on the, and they get paid $32 or $33 an hour. So you have that, and that's all applicable up to this point. I want to go a little bit ahead for real quick. The flight line and the college are about 10 minutes apart. You can bring your own car. There's nothing, we have no rules against freshmen having cars, it's fine. If you can find a parking spot, good luck. But we also have a shuttle. Shuttle runs twice an hour when school's in session. On holidays and stuff like that, it'll probably run once an hour. So if you want to save gas and don't want to use it, if you do have a car, you can easily get here. It should take 14 to 17 minutes, okay? And there are about 6 stops, so it's really, really a good feature, free of charge, and a lot of our students and our instructors actually do take advantage of it, okay? Do want to say a couple of things real quick. We have a Flying Start program. I'm not sure if you can see this, but Flying Start program, if you are interested in that, you can email me. I'll just really quick talk about it. When you come in, let's say your first semester coming into FIT is in the fall of 2020, you're a senior, okay, in high school. Graduate in May or June of 2020, so we know that you're starting in August. Well, from June 22nd of 2020 to July 31st, so that's a Monday, 22nd of June, Friday, July 31st, 6 weeks. In that 6-week time, anybody who doesn't have their private pilot license can obtain their, get half to 2/3 of the way through their private pilot license. You're not gonna finish it in a 6-week program, okay? Some students do decide to stay longer and make it 8 weeks because the orientation is starting. In that case, you could potentially get 2/3 to 3/4 weather permitting, of course. You'll fly early because we're in Florida and it rains here pretty consistently in the summertime. So you'll fly early. The private pilot will have a ground school 3 weeks of those, 3 out of those 6 weeks in the afternoon from 1 to 5 after lunch from 12 to 1. So fly 8 to 12, lunch 12 to 1, and then ground school 3 weeks, 1 to 5. It's a great way of getting to know your future classmates. It is not designed for international students because international students with their F1 visa can only be here up to 30 days prior to the start of the semester, so no good. It's no good for underclassmen unless you have personal accommodations. I can't let you in a dorm with that. But for the others, it's been a really successful program and they get through it really quick. And as a matter of fact, when they're here for orientation week, they can fly because they have an instructor, they know everything, they acclimate to Florida, to the flight line, to the campus. So their learning curve that first week is just acclimating to all their full schedule of classes, okay? There's a second track to Flying Start. The second track is for Flight 2. So it won't violate the restricted ATP rules, but a student can give me 4 consecutive weeks in the summer, and I really don't care when they are, just need to know. They can get Flight 2 out of the way, theoretically, in the summer. So, and that again is prior to the beginning of their college career here. So, let's put it this way. Private pilot license in high school, Flight 2 over the summer before you would start college. When you come in, theoretically, you can do the instrument rating in the freshman of your fall semester, and then spring semester you can do Flight 4. If you finish that in a reasonable amount of time by the end of the semester, you can go into single engine add-on course before the end of May, and then get into what we call CFI Academy, which we have a CFI Academy over the summer. So it's possible, aggressive, but possible, to become a certified flight instructor in one's sophomore year, should they follow that timeline. I don't know if I would recommend it if you have students that have done it, but it requires a very flight-heavy timeline. Can be done, but you have to question whether or not that is something that you want to do. College credits. The college generally awards monetary merit scholarships once they accept you as a senior, and that may make your decision for you, so that comes around about February time. But juniors have different priorities, and again, if you have any questions, comments, please feel free to ask me. This is our program in a nutshell. I tried to be as brief as possible. There's a lot of things you obviously need to know. Remember, I gave you a couple of warnings. Just before I leave, I just want to tell you a little bit about the industry. Starting salaries since 2012 to about 2018 to present have about tripled. So starting salaries, whereas they were in the low 20s, they're now in the mid 60s. This is a very robust industry. Remember, we're talking prior to a few weeks ago. Hopefully we'll get back on track with that. But the salaries, the demand is projected for the next couple of decades, okay? And I'm sure you can hear the buzz. We know that this is a very high cost of training. And then the other thing is, I don't want to mislead you. A pilot who is an American who is going into this industry, because of the 1,000 hours necessary, please plan on being here anywhere from 8 to 18 months post-graduation for that 4-year degree. So it's more like a 5-year plan than a 4-year plan. Okay, so just make sure you have that. Again, any questions, please feel free to contact me. Okay, thank you very much.